Hi friends. Before I start, I want to say please pardon me for how I look and sound in this video because I'm actually sick. So yeah, I'm not going to have the same level of energy or enthusiasm that I normally have in these videos. Like Hotaru, I am a little frail, so when I get sick it hits me pretty hard. Actually running a fever right now. I really didn't want to record today, but if I wait too long, like I usually take a week to get better, and then the next episode would be out. So I really didn't want to keep you guys waiting. So yeah, in the last episode, I discussed how the Holy Grail is basically an item of time paradox. And in this episode, there's a lot of repetitive stock footage. They show the scene of Sailor Saturn awakening in the past when the Silver Millennium got attacked. They show that probably like 4 or 5 times in this episode. So that's going to be my major complaint for this episode. I have one other, but we'll get to that in the end. So anyway, at the beginning, Sailor Moon basically performs like a spirit bomb. She asks everyone for their energy, and of course they give her their energy, and then she's able to defeat the last and most powerful member of the Witches 5, which is technically 2 members if you really think about it, but because she multiplies herself or whatever. Well, not multiplies, she just splits in 2, I guess. I don't know. Does that double her power, or is her power split between the 2? I don't know. They don't really explain that. But anyway, so I've been waiting forever to see the Crisis Makeup transformation, or if you prefer, the Super Sailor Moon transformation. I really like the way that it's animated, the way that her hair and clothing move. It's really elegant looking, and I like how they have the movement of her basically touching her toe on the ground and stuff. It was like the previous transformation but upgraded, kind of. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain, and me being sick is not making me very coherent, so I'll just move on to the next one. So in this one, Hotaru is kind of struggling with the other personalities in her head. Imagine, the other Senshi have their past lives inside of them, right? So Hotaru has her past life of Sailor Saturn inside of her, but then she's also got that evil, I think, Mistress 9, is that the number? So she's got herself and those 2 inside of her. So she's dealing with a lot, and I really like the subtle changes in her appearance as she's devolving into the evil personality. There were some slight changes with the way her eyes and mouth looked. I thought that was pretty cool and effective in conveying her struggle. I also thought it was kind of funny because the outer Senshi get a little bit more of a personality together in this episode. After the big fight, there's this scene where they go back to their place, and Haruka's like, oh my gosh, the bills for fixing all this mess is gonna be ridiculous. I'm scared to see. I don't know how I'm going to have the money for this. And then they were like, this place is pretty big. How much does it cost you? And she's like, oh yeah, it's like 1,000,000 yen a month. And they're like, what? How can you have that much money? And she's like, oh yeah, well, Michiru and I have patrons, so we don't ever have to worry about money, flips hair. And then Michiru's like, Haruka, stop bragging. And I thought that was pretty funny. You know, the outer senshi don't get many moments of humor, so seeing one is quite refreshing, especially when I'm not feeling well. So putting a smile on my face is very welcome. So that part I was talking about earlier with the stock footage, basically they were talking about the backstory of Sailor Saturn while they were in the apartment. And when Silver Millennium fell like 1,000 years ago, the outer senshi were witnessing it, and their talismans were resonating because they all gathered together and awakened Sailor Saturn, which was the part that was played like 4 or 5 times. And I thought that was really cool because, you know, I don't think they ever explained that in the 90s anime. I could be wrong. It's been a couple years since I've watched it, that season in particular. But I don't think they explained that she had awakened before. Like, she was just kind of there, reincarnated into this world. They didn't ever talk about her past life, I don't think. So it was pretty cool to see this one. But what I thought was even cooler was that the 3 outer senshi were the ones to awaken her in the first place, which, spoilers, is really cool because those 3 actually take care of her in the next season, because she's a kid and they're adults, so they take care of her as like a kind of uncommon family. Normally you see 2 people who are partners taking care of a child, whereas this one is 2 people who are partners and a 3rd person. I guess you could technically say Pluto's like a godmother or an aunt or something. I don't know. Either way, I think it's pretty cool that they're the ones who awoken her in the first place, or awaken her, I'm sorry, I'm sick, so, brain not working properly, because of that. And I really like that in the manga, the scenes that they show where they're taking care of her. It's cute. But anyway, so, and they also finally talk about how Hotaru is basically half human, half machine because of the accident in the past and how she was in a coma and stuff. Now, I'm a little biased since I'm Steel Fairy, but I kind of think the half human, half robot thing is cool. So, there are a lot of reasons why Hotaru is my favorite character. And I know for a fact that they never touch on the half machine thing in the 90s series. I don't know why. I guess back then the series was a little more geared toward children than Crystal is or something, and they thought that subject matter was too dark, you know, because I don't think they ever talked about anyone being in a coma in the 90s series. So yeah, it can be a pretty dark subject matter, but, you know, Sailor Moon's a pretty dark series. A lot of people don't realize that. They think, oh my gosh, Madoka Magica came along and it completely changed the magical girl genre. No, no, no. Sailor Moon was pretty dark. Tokyo Mew Mew had its dark moments. Full Moon wo Sagashite, I think is how you say it, The girl has a freaking tumor in her throat. She's got cancer. Like, a lot of people, they don't realize how dark these Magical Girl series are. It's like, God. But yet, I love them. I guess, I mean, my writing is pretty dark at times, but they always end kind of happily, except this one short story I wrote where the main character died at the end. But, you know, I guess watching Sailor Moon as a kid probably influenced a lot of my taste in my own writing. Who knows? um, but anyway, that's enough of a side rant about that. So Hotaru finally awakens into Mistress Nine, and I always thought she had a really cool design. I'm kind of glad that she awoke, or I don't know, I can't think. I'm kind of glad that she came into play, how about that, in this episode, because in the 90s one, she didn't really awaken into that form until, like, the final battle, which, you know, means she doesn't really get a lot of screen time or anything. And I know it's not the final battle yet, because the season has 12 episodes in it, and we're only on 8. So, you know, I'm hoping she'll get more screen time in this series, because I think she looks really cool, and her voice sounds kind of like really similar to Black Lady's. I'm not sure if it's the same voice actress or something, or if that's just the go-to female villain voice. Which reminds me, Japan has like this really weird obsession with giving female villains hair powers. Now I know why, because in Japanese mythology, there's this creature that has hair that can like move around, kind of like Japan's own Medusa, kind of, except not snakes for hair, it's just regular hair, but it can like move around and strangle people and stuff. So I get why they do it. I just noticed that it's like a recurring thing in a lot of anime series. There's always that one female villain that has the hair powers. Which I'm not saying is a bad thing, because there's really a lot you can do with that. Like, in this one, she transforms it into a hand and grabs the brooch from Chibiusa, which makes her transform back and fall God knows how many feet back to the ground. And that's my other complaint. So the episode leaves off on kind of a serious note, because Chibiusa has just gotten attacked and she fell to the ground and looks really bad. So Tuxedo Mask is there holding her, and Sailor Moon's all like, she's not breathing. And then it cuts to the ending theme, which is that really cutesy, happy, girly song that Chibiusa sings. And it's like, did you not think about the major shift in tone there? That's like the thing with Bambi's mom, where it's that scene where she gets shot and then Bambi realizes that she's gone, and then it cuts to springtime with the birds, and it's like la 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 la, and it's like, no, you can't you can't have that weird tone shift so suddenly like that. Ugh. But yeah, so that was my other major complaint. The rest of the episode was pretty good. I actually liked the Outer Senshi in this one more. Like, I think Sailor Pluto's cool, but I have some problems with Uranus and Neptune, like their personalities. This one, I think they were able to shine a little bit more, and I liked them a lot more. Chibiusa still had a good personality in this one, so I kind of like how this season they gave her a lot more character development and likability, because then when she gets attacked and they're like, oh, she's not breathing, it makes more of an impact. Whereas if she was kept annoying and whiny, we wouldn't care as much. So, there you go. There's the payoff. But anyway, I've rambled enough. I'm gonna go and blow my nose. Anyway, until next episode, byes.